What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, big brother Jerry Larson, Scott Panza here to talk about the weekend that was and these final two games. I should say the weekend that was, the game that's currently happening, and the game yet to come. Fellas, how are we feeling?
Feeling, pretty good, pretty happy with this Pats win. Really, impressed with the defense because they were leaky early and then just staunch defense. Had, flashbacks to the Super Bowl last year against the Rams. There was 11 straight punts in the game. I mean, it was a really ugly second half. If you had the under, there was not even a sweat. It wasn't even close. Bills cashed on the over 6.5 wins. We've been talking about it all season, and it feels mighty fine to cash in week 11 and not have to sweat it the rest of the way. And the AFC playoff picture is shaping up to be pretty interesting. They're locked into the 5 seed right now at 7-3, but the Raiders are at 6-4 in the 7th hole. So the AFC playoff picture is looking pretty interesting. And now I'm just sweating a little bit of the Bears trying to, cap off the weekend. Had a decent weekend in cash, flat in DFS, and mediocre in Circa and Super Contest. And we'll go through it.
Yeah, I think what we said at the beginning of the season as it pertains to the AFC playoff picture is correct. I think we had one of the teams wrong, but this is just fast forward Baltimore, New England, cruise control towards whatever that game is. I think the only thing that is up for consideration is where the game is going to be played. Complete whiff on my part on Houston, just boat raced. And I think it's time to start respecting the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I have been pretty short them most of the season outside of the Pats game last week, but just really impressed with their ability to move it up and down the field on what is a really good Texans defense. So continue to improve their AFC, NFC. You got some really quality teams at the top. Green Bay, 2 losses. San Francisco, 1 loss. Vikings in the wild card with 3 losses. I mean, you have what is looking like going to be a packed NFC side of the bracket as well. I think it'll be probably less interesting in terms of who gets in on that side, but once the game starts, should be a little bit better than the AFC, which I think will kind of be the opposite. You have a lot of drama on the way in, and then probably kind of chalky as we get into January.
Yeah, I think right now what it's going to be is who's going to draw the Chiefs between the Ravens and the Patriots, because other than Chiefs, the wild card teams or the non-bye teams, I mean, nothing's going to scare you. Colts, Bills, Texans, Raiders, none of those teams scare me coming into Foxborough. And you just want to be on the other end of the Chiefs there. But yeah, you nailed it with the NFC. I mean, the Vikings are 8-3 in the 6 hole right now. I mean, how wild is that? Seattle at 8-2. The only drama is really going to be the NFC East between the Cowboys and the Eagles, and Packers, Niners, Seahawks, Vikings for playoff seeds. So you got to feel pretty good about your Vikings there, Micah. What do you think?
Yeah, and you look at that record too. You could take one from the L column and move it to the win if you take advantage of a Patrick Mahomes-less Kansas City Chiefs team 3-4 weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, the Packers it's just crazy that those two teams, and we talked about it all year, we thought the NFC North was this stacked division, and now it's kind of become a two-horse race late, I'd say kind of halfway through the season. Felt good about today. And the second half, if you're a Denver fan, you just got to be like, look, what do we got to do to win in the fourth quarter, like to finish a game? Because I think they've lost 3 games by 2 points or less, and that today was 4. And in the last 5 years, when down 20-0, NFL teams are 0-99 until today. It is now 1-99.
Is that Fangio? That has to be regular season, though.
Yeah,
that doesn't include. Yeah, that doesn't include 28-3.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming in there.
Yeah, you just laid it up for me.
Well, was it 28-3 at halftime though? Was it?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
No, it was 20-3 or 21-3 at halftime.
Okay.
And then they made it 28-3 first possession.
That's right, man.
Oh, Take me back.
Take me back.
You
How
should've
mad
saw
were
me
you the
before
first half of that
Not
game?
to halftime. Not to halftime. Not take you back.
Oh my goodness! It was just the best part about that night is, so after the Pats won, I was in an apartment complex in Connecticut, and there was a shooting outside. I guess
Oh
there was
my gosh.
some really salty Falcons fans right outside my building, and so the shooting goes off, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, comes out of the bathroom and is like, "Was that gunfire?" It's like, "No, I think that was fireworks." And then you smell gunpowder, and then you see 20 cop cars roll up on the apartment.
Oh,
It was real fun, really fun.
Jeez.
man. Yeah.
Nice.
That's no
Yeah,
bueno.
definitely don't take you back to that part or the halftime. Just the middle 20 or the third 20 minutes of that game.
So,
Late.
Scott, I'll tell you this because it actually kind of pertains to gambling. But I had, obviously I was at Auburn, and 50% of that university is from Atlanta, and then the other 50% is from Birmingham. And then I'm in like the 0.1%. Or 0.0, excuse me. I threw the point in a little weird. But I had one kid who was like, dude, we're going downtown tonight. Like, this is probably start of the fourth quarter, like halfway through the third, he goes, I hit like alternate spread, like all the alternate lines. He had so much money on that game. And he's like,
On the Falcons.
Yeah, on the Falcons. And he goes, I am going to hit every single one of these bets, and I am going to make so much money.
Oh no!
And I'm like, you idiot. Like, why would you say that out loud? Or why would you say it? And sure enough, they just came crawling back. And
Gone, all gone.
Yeah. Just,
Sorry.
oh, brutal. I couldn't even. And he's a Falcons fan, so you add the loss of that much money on top of blowing a 28-3 Super Bowl lead. It's just, it was a brutal
Painful.
night. It was.
Painful.
Speaking of the Falcons,
Yeah, speaking of the Falcons,
whiffed on that one today. Holy smokes.
both of us.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Oh, man. Are the Falcons all of a sudden good? I mean, the defense looked amazing. They really got after Kyle Allen today. Really impressed. And then
On the road.
not even close, not even a sweat. And that was, I think, most frustrating part of my losers today, that all of them are non-sweats. Texans absolutely boat raced. Lamar Jackson MVP right now, and just I'm not betting against him for the rest of the season. What a freaking stud. I mean, it's him or Russell Wilson. I don't know the
Circle back
argument.
after we were knocking the early MVP candidacy.
I know. Talk about many of the whiffs this year, because the guy I was touting for MVP this year, Carson Wentz, looked not too great today against the Patriots. And then Jags, Nick Foles started out hot, didn't get hot the rest of the game. Linebacker play really discouraging. They're all young guys, and they just can't tackle. And Marlon Mack ran all over them, and then Panthers not even close. Spiked on the Broncos, although they torched that game at the end. They covered the 10.5. And then Arizona plus 11. So good to be on the side of above 10, because that last second touchdown for all the late entry guys on the Cards, they got the push, and that's super frustrating, I'm sure. And then Circa, Jags loser, Broncos winner, Pats winner on the Bears and Chargers. And then had a little Raiders exposure in there mixed in with the Jets and the Bucks. Bucks stink. I don't know why I bet on Jameis. I deserve to lose that one. Jets.
I was going to say. I'm like,
the Jets
deserve that one.
The most frustrating thing about the Jets is I wanted to bet them all week, and the spread moved against them. So I just figured that this is just too obvious to hop on the Jets, and I didn't do it last second. I just had it in a little piece of Circa. So puke. And then Bills -6, never really in doubt. That was such a great spot for them. And Josh Allen was really my focal point in DFS today. I'm just really upset that I could not get enough pop guys around him, because it could have been a really good day, because I was on the Josh Allen, John Brown, Ryan Griffin train, and then everyone else around him just duds other than Christian McCaffrey. So really frustrating there. Flattish week, and now just sweating the Bears.
Yeah, I kind of already alluded to my plays. Panthers whiff. Texans whiff. I had a contrarian play in Circa because I need to make a move with Lions. Looked good early and then fell apart down the stretch. And then as Scott said, I felt really good about Cardinals. I didn't see the end of that game, and then he told me that there was like a scoop and score at the end. I was like, oh man, good thing we got the number we did, and have Bears pending. And yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. Like Scott said, it's not like you took a beat or it was a bad interception or a timing or no. I mean, they just got the brakes beat off them. So it's reassess on to the next week and go about your business. College wasn't a whole lot better. Total whiff on Auburn. Mike and I talked quite a bit about this game. The defense continues to show that they're elite. They hit the big play. Georgia, that is, hit the big play to start the game. 51-yard touchdown in the first quarter there. So took quite a bit of energy out of the crowd, I presume. And then you had kind of a weird sequence where it was 3rd and long. And with our defense, I think taking a timeout is a wise coaching move, which they did. And then Georgia was able to convert that 3rd down coming into the end of the first half. I know our pal Michael Lombardi calls it the middle 8, and Georgia did very well in that middle 8. And Auburn just not able to recover. Offense came alive really in the back part of the 3rd quarter, but simply just ran out of time. I think Bo Nix had a wide open throw to the H-back for a potential first down and potentially more. Completely missed it, threw it behind him, which again you can't do. And then swallowed it on a 4th and 10 for the game. So, there's a couple things where it's like, hey, the guy's a freshman, but that's a bet that I would make. Again, we talk about process and how I broke the game down. And look, this is still gambling, and it's still outcomes that you don't have complete control over. They hit a big play early in the game, and then the defense really, if you look, I think they had 120 total yards in the first half and had 14 points. So, it's one of those things where sometimes it just breaks against you. Iowa hit that on the screws. Navy got the brakes beat off them.
On the screws. 4. 1 point cushion. Yeah.
See, I didn't think that game was that close, but that's me based on what I saw. But I didn't see all of it. In fairness, I was at a wedding. And who else did I have?
Even I bet college football this weekend. I bet Alabama.
I bet Alabama. That's right. Easy winner. We'll see.
They won, but that they lost the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Mac Jones is pretty good, but that's me.
I was going to say, the backup didn't look terrible.
He's not terrible, but the thing is
Mississippi State or whoever they played.
Because the committee's made it so completely obvious, this whole eye test BS. If Tua is not playing quarterback, they're not going to put them in the playoff as a one-loss team.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's that
I think. Well, and Georgia's win is going to do them a bunch of favors because now they're going to be in the title game and they got the chance to beat LSU. I think they could beat LSU because that will be a de facto home game for them in Atlanta. And if they do, I think LSU still gets in, and I think Georgia both gets in, and then it's Clemson and Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Don't sleep on Oklahoma. I know they squeaked out by Baylor, but they're going to play enough good teams between now and the end of the year. I could see them slapping up into that 4th spot.
Watch out for the Utes, too.
Agreed. Same type of situation.
What's a Ute?
The Utah Utes.
The Utah Utes.
It went over your head. My cousin Vinny.
Oh, geez.
Did you say Utes? Youths.
Use guys.
Yeah, I think I went 2 and 3. I had Minnesota, both Minnesota and Auburn, because I called it my heart parlay. I had a Auburn Minnesota money line parlay, and at halftime I'm just sitting there in the stands. I'm like, wow, it's like 19-3, Iowa over Minnesota, and it's 14-0, Georgia over Auburn. I'm like, this sucks.
Clubbed from all directions. Yeah,
and both teams. Just halfway through the 3rd quarter, at least Minnesota started storming back. 3rd quarter, it was a 4-point game at one point. They had the ball, 4th and 6 on like the 15 or something. Anywho, chose to go for it. Iowa comes down, kicks a field goal. Long story short, made it close, but nail biter, heartbroken. great. I'm watching the game unfolding right in front of me. Auburn just storming out of the gates in the fourth quarter like their hair's on fire, thinking they're going to cover, possibly win the game, and heartbreak. And a part of me, there's a second where I was like, I would have almost rathered they didn't come back and score. Like, I wish we just lost like 21-0, because then my heart would have just been murdered from the get-go, where they resuscitated me, only to just plunge the katana into my chest. It was great.
Deeper.
Yeah. Just so I could feel it a little bit more. Michigan absolutely boat raced Michigan State. That team is suddenly alive, and I think could be their last remaining threat to Ohio State. And then I'm trying to think what my other winner was. Florida, which that one was kind of ugly for a while, but then Florida ended up pulling away on Missouri.
Missouri is so bad.
Yeah.
I watched most of that game. They are so bad.
Yeah, it was not.
That's why I play the games. Florida. I mean, I guess Florida's one of those teams I got to start giving them respect. A la the Baltimore Ravens. But playoff shaping up to be good. I actually, for the listeners, I grabbed some 20-1 Oklahoma to win the title earlier this week. I've seen some 25s since then. So I think if you can get a number out there like that, that's a team that I'd be willing to take a shot on at that price.
How about, and sorry, Scott, I know we're talking a little college here, but how about Plumlee for Ole Miss? Absolutely shredding LSU's defense.
Now, the dude is good. I said that when they played us. I'm like, I like this kid.
I think he's got a little bit of a wet noodle, but I mean, he's an athlete, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's playing baseball there too.
That makes sense.
So I don't know about wet noodle, but maybe he's got to get used to throwing a ball that's a little heavier than a baseball. I mean, LSU is just throttling everyone. That offense is high octane, hitting on all cylinders. I can't wait to watch them play Georgia. But ultimately get in the playoff. I mean, you have Clemson, who's not going to lose to any. It's Clemson's going to be in. I'm not as much of a buyer on this Michigan team as some other people are. I'm pretty convinced that it's going to be Ohio State and Clemson as your locks. I think LSU, as long as they don't trip over their whats at this point, is going to be in. And even if they lose to Georgia, I still think they're in. And then that fourth spot's really the only one that's up for contention.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow, too, is going to be walking away with the Heisman Trophy. I think that's about done. And
he won it against Bama, my opinion.
Yeah. So let's dive into this a little bit. We got the Sunday night game going on. Scott, I know you say you're sweating the Bears. Let's address the fact here that these two coaches were considered the new era geniuses for the NFL. These offensive minds, they were going to young blood, spice it up, change things up, are now sitting in a predicament where these offenses are puttering, to use a better word, I guess. Jared Goff had almost similar to Trubisky, of terrible rookie season, surprisingly great sophomore season, and then just back to nothingness. Is that a fair statement?
I think the kids call it life comes at you fast.
Yes.
It just hits harder, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
What is it, Micah? You tell me.
The NFL's tough, man. It's built for teams to go 8-8 and recover when they've had down years, and these guys are learning it quickly. You get hit with the injury bug. You get hit with poor front office decisions, and now you're staring at a 5-5 season. And Mitch Trubisky interception.
How are you always ahead of me?
Yeah, Scott's even ahead of me.
No,
I was like, I'm in a hotel.
I think the Gamecast guy is doing drugs at ESPN.
I was like, Goff just threw an interception, but
and that's what happens. I mean, it's really tough to stay on top of your division. And I mean, the Rams, they're just in such a tough division with Pete Carroll. You have Kyle Shanahan, and you have a scrappy Cardinals team. And same with the Bears. The Bears are in the toughest division in football by far. And you lose a couple of games on bad decisions and missed field goals, and you're standing at 4-5, and you really don't have a prayer. So
no, they want a kicker. I think they're just going to not have a kicker. I think you just got to play the statistic. Just cut the kicker, cut the punter, and go with it.
So is this year 3 for Goff and Trubisky, or year 4?
Year 3 for both.
Right. So if you look at the first year, John Fox was the coach for Trubisky, completely inept, especially on the
No, year
offensive
4
side.
Goff, year 3 Trubisky.
Okay, so Nagy comes in, first year guy, blows up, and then they get some tape on him, and they've struggled this year. I think that's usually what you see in the NFL. These first go rounds are usually pretty successful, and then they start to struggle thereafter. I would say the same thing about the Rams. We're coming into year 3 of McVay. Year 1 was tough based on the roster that they had. Year 1 under Jeff Fisher for Jared Goff. Putrid. I think a lot of that has to do with Jeff Fisher.
Not going 8-8.
McVay shows up. Improvement. The only thing I would say that kind of caught me off guard was his significant improvement last year, taking his team all the way to the Super Bowl. So I am a little surprised to see the downgrade here, but you get tape on these people and they regress. That's just how it works in the NFL. Like Scott said, it's tailor-made to have everyone go around 8-8 on average over the course of many years, which makes the Patriot stuff that much more impressive. 19th straight winning season locked up today.
Crazy. I mean,
unbelievable.
Well, I think
yeah, it's awesome.
to add to my
spoiled.
go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
No. After you, Mike. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say I saw a list the other day. I think in the last 7 or something seasons, the Vikings had the 5th most wins, and it's like you have all the 4 teams in front of them all have a Super Bowl win. I'm like, this is great. This is why I hate my life, because this team is constantly good, or at least competitive more than other franchises, and we cannot get over the hump. It's great. So speaking of, we're going to talk, I think, I guess one of those teams that the Vikings have lost a Super Bowl to, I believe it was Super Bowl 3 or 4, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs Monday Night Football taking on the Chargers and Phillip Rivers and his many children.
The spread's opened up, actually, and I'm surprised, but the money's pouring in on the Chiefs. I'm on the Chargers at +3.5. I'm going to hop back on at +4.5. I love this team tomorrow, a team that can run the ball on a Chiefs team that does not stop the run very well. A pass rush that can get after Patrick Mahomes, who's still, he's not 100%. He's definitely not moving as well as he wants to be. And frankly, a Chargers team that's been preparing to play in altitude all week by practicing in Colorado versus the Chiefs, who've stayed in Kansas City and not preparing to, play in what's going to be a tough environment. I know the Pats, when they went to go play in Mexico City, they spent the whole week in Colorado preparing to play in altitude. And I think what the Chargers are doing is very smart. Tip your cap to Anthony Lynn, and I think that they're going to go out in there. I think they're going to beat the Chiefs tomorrow. So I'll be on spread and money line, and I feel pretty good about the Chargers. I'm not surprised that the money's pouring in on the Chiefs. They're such a public team, but I'll take the Chargers in this spot.
Yep, money's pouring in on the Chiefs. I will also be on the Chargers. I think that heading to Denver, or Colorado rather, is a great move for them. Interestingly, Estudio Azteca has actually had a higher elevation than Denver. So you're talking about Kansas City, which is on the prairie, and you're going up over 6,000 feet of elevation. That is a significant move, and I would expect this game to be kind of up and down. That's the way the Chiefs play. I'll be very interested to see if that strategy is effective based on the conditioning of the team. But I agree everything Scott said in terms of Chiefs being a public team. The Chargers are the quote-unquote home team. I don't think this is going to be any different than one of their actual home games based on the percentage of Chiefs versus Chargers fans. So it's not, nothing foreign to them from a home support perspective. But, getting the points. I like them to be around. I like them to be in the mix. Maybe some late-game heroics. But I really like Phillip Rivers against this inept Kansas City secondary.
It'll be an interesting one.
Maybe an over.
Ooh.
Maybe an over.
I am excited for we've had some good. There was a spell, like the whole season. I feel like Monday night has been pretty bad, but there's been a little bit of a interesting,
a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit more fun to get into. I saw we've had some flexes for Sunday Night Football. I've seen on the docket. NBC's been kind of rolling things around.
Yep. So Mike, Jared and I were talking about this before the pod because the Pats are playing the Chiefs in a couple of weeks, and it wasn't able to get flexed because it sounds like the CBS protected the game. But the Pats got the Texans in a couple of weeks on Sunday Night Football, and then next week is actually a decent one. We got Packers Niners, and then actually Monday Night Football Ravens Rams. So got some good prime time public football coming up, and then a great day on Thanksgiving. I'm super juiced for Cowboys Bills. That's going to be a juicy one. And so we're rounding into form. This is the time teams are supposed to be peaking, and let's let it roll from here.
I think we've gotten to the point where we're just going to have to get some Bills gear for the show. I think that's just what we've gotten to, and we'll have to wear it on Thanksgiving.
Circle those wagons, baby.
Oh, yeah. Fellas, anything else going on football-wise you'd like to share with you? How are we doing in draft.com?
Best ball, still in the lead.
Hogwash.
Feeling pretty good.
Coming for you.
And then in all my the big tournament on that, I had a nice weekend this weekend. I have a lot of Run CMC, a lot of Josh Allen exposure. So today was a good day. So that big tournament, the regular season ends after next week, and then the playoffs start week 13. So should be juicy, and we'll be sweating it.
How did McCaffrey have I saw that too. How did he have such a big day and they didn't score at all?
He had 10 catches, and he just had 200 all-purpose yards.
Yeah, and they scored 3 points. I don't understand mechanically how that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, two big things from that game. Dan Quinn, we gave him the done chain, but it looks like he might be hanging around. Then if you're the Panthers, you're going to wait a second. Maybe Cam wasn't that bad.
He's just Kyle Allen is that cheap. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I may have jinxed it. I was trying to find a seat on the Kyle Allen bandwagon and got a little choppy.
Ooh.
Tough for me to find a chair. I didn't get kicked off though. I'm still on.
Ooh, okay. So then there's the question that Cam said openly: if the Bears were willing to trade for him, he'd be in to go to Chicago.
I like that.
I like that. That'd be fun.
I'd like to see Nagy calling plays with Cam and not Trubisky.
Another missed field goal for
Eddie.
the Bears.
Oh boy.
Pathetic. No, you know what? Where I'd love to see Cam? Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would be fun.
I would love to see Cam in Tampa Bay.
Heck yeah.
Godwin and Evans. I mean, that would be just amazing to watch. And I'm sure Bruce Arians would be thrilled to have him over Jameis.
They won't trade him in division though.
That's true.
Or maybe they will. If they do, I think that says a lot about his injury.
Yeah, good point.
Ooh. Jared, I'd split season tickets with you immediately.
for all the extra time that we have to get down there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, well, fellas, it's sadly. I mean, this weekend was some good football weather. I hope everyone is staying warm out there as we get deeper into the holiday season. Get on that Christmas list early because people will start asking you for it. So just start thinking about that. Tell them you just want cash, and then you can give it to your bookie for more bets. There you go. You don't have to tell anyone in your family what the money's being used for. Just say, I want cash. That's it. That doesn't sound sketchy at all.
No, not at all.
That's the greatest. That's the perfect gift, cash. That's what I always ask for.
Yeah.
Cash is king.
Nobody knows what I want more than me. Just give me cash and I'll figure it out.
That is true. Well, fellas, I got a big update because last time we were on the podcast, I said I had a mission, and I went 2 for 3. I found 2 of those dang skeeters, and I killed them. I got one more floating around in this house, and I'm going to find him, and I will kill him. But I want to keep everyone in the loop.
Godspeed.
That it's slowly dwindling down. It's good. All right, fellas. Well, I think that is going to do it for this wrap-up, this recap edition for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, Junkies. We'll see you next time.
Noah Soloway.
What?